was working full-time in a restaurant in 1979, and I was also working as a mechanic. And after 2 years of that, my father looked at me one day and said, "Which kind of grease did you prefer, the kitchen grease or the automotive grease?" I decided I was going to make this a career.
I needed some cash, and I decided, hey, I know how to do dishes, and I'm fairly decent doing that, so I'll go down to the Lion's Den Restaurant Pub and see if they'll give me a job.
I started picking up shifts at a restaurant as a waitress. Started off at Red Lobster and worked there for 5 years.
We've never owned a business together. My background pretty much from my early working years back in the 60s has been in finance of some sort, a business manager and so forth for a few different organizations.
When we opened up, I became a waitress and a hostess.
I felt as though coming here would be more profitable, and it was just more my style.
No matter where you are, if you're a server, you're there to serve the customer, and that should be the same wherever you go. Whether you're in a 5-star, 5-diamond resort like the Ritz-Carlton or McDonald's.
Met the former owner of the Lion's Den here. It was named Chadwick's, and he had been a friend of mine from the banking days. We got to talking about the old days, and he mentioned something that he was going to, the restaurant was not doing well. He had some health issues and some other situations that brought him to the point where he was going to sell the business. And when he told me that, I said, well, let me talk to my daughter and her husband.
A little light bulb went off.
We did. We called them. They came up and looked over the restaurant and the situation, and one thing led to another. Thus, we have the Lion's Den.
I had looked before once into doing a waitressing job, but I had no experience into it. I have to say that I'm really glad I did, because this has been the most wonderful job I've ever had.
The greatest challenge is probably coming up with the idea. We knew what we wanted to name it, but coming up with an official name, getting all the licenses and permits, and the biggest challenge I have here is getting strong staff. That's the biggest thing up here in Randolph.
Challenges originally when I first started working in the restaurant business was getting around the get up and go thing. It wasn't something that it was like you have to think very much. Things weren't complicated. It was go, 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 go. And that was when I was a dish guy, and now the most complicated thing and the most difficult thing that I deal with probably is reading people. I feel like I'm pretty good at it now, but when I first started waiting tables, it was a pretty difficult thing. One table might be really happy-go-lucky and easy to read, but then, you know, who knows, maybe table 4, they haven't had a very good night, and they come in and they're just not in a very good mood, and it's kind of hard. You gotta kind of read how those people are so you know how to interact with them.
One of the challenges is being new to town, is getting the word out that we are actually down here, and trying to figure out our best marketing way to let them know that, whether it be the radio, the paper, but I think that's one of the biggest challenges that I have faced, is trying to figure out how to get people in here.
The challenges that I have faced while working here usually has just been making sure that everything runs smoothly, that people are communicating with each other, and overcoming them has just been talking to people and working from there, going over the paperwork in the morning when I get here, you know, going over who's reserved and who's on, and just figuring out from there.
Do your research, marketing research, see what kind of a market is necessary for whatever area you want to open a restaurant. Restaurant business is very tough. It's 24/7 almost, and you really need to like what you do.
From what I have learned from being in the restaurant business as a whole is, if you want to run a business, make sure you have time, make sure you actually know that that's what you want to do, and make sure that you know what you're doing. And then coming from a server's point of view, you definitely want to make sure that you can be flexible.
It's a lot of hard work. It's not something you can do overnight. It's not something you can go in thinking that I can do it. It's a lot of work, and you have to take a lot of bumps in the road to get there. It's fun, it's enjoyable. I mean, I put in 100, 110 hours a week. I don't think of it as working. I enjoy what I'm doing. That's what you've got to do. You've got to enjoy it.